Hi everyone, welcome back. We have a new tutorial for you again. A sunset. Yes, I took a photograph of a lovely sunset outside my house last week, and I put it on my Facebook page, and I got a lot of compliments and a lot of people saying, tutorial, yeah, that would be nice. So here I am, lovely sunset tutorial, nice warm colours, and I'm going to be showing it well. I will try to show you how to keep your colours nice and clean on the canvas and avoid colours going green or brown, especially when you're using blues and yellows. So that's the subject this week. Thank you very, very much again for your support. If you're following me on Patreon, there's some fantastic tutorials there, and thank you very much for your support on that. It really does help, and it helps me pay for all these materials and the small things. It's the small things that cost the money, isn't it now, people, really? So thank you very, very much for that. So here we are, my 16 by 12 canvas. Now I'm not sure what to do with the canvas yet. I was thinking portrait or landscape. I'm not too sure. In general, people would tend to do a sunset in a landscape format, but I'm thinking it might be different to do it this way for a change, because we have a very high sky. Comes down to about here, and I want to show perspective in the sky and bring some lovely kind of purpley clouds into the sky as well. So I want to make a nice high sky. I think it might be nice for a change, something different. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to hook the camera up here. I hope you enjoy this. Give me some comments and criticize me if you want. If you want, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. Don't be shy. Again, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this one now, people. This is going to be a nice one, nice and colourful, and this is what I look out at every day. Well, when the sun goes down, each day there's a different kind of a sunset. So I'm lucky, I suppose, in that regard. So here we go. Thank you very much. Don't go anywhere. Now, I'm going to do portrait style. It'll be nice for a change, I think. I'm going to start, now you should see the photograph on your screen. Now isn't that just gorgeous? And that's what I look out at every single night when the sun goes down. Isn't that just stunning? And I kind of cropped it a little bit, because now it was taken in a landscape format, so I kind of zoomed in on my phone then on the photograph to make it a portrait. I think it's nice, it just shows a lot of the sky, and it's very good for practicing skies to get a lot of cloud in, and it's quite nice. Now I'm going to list my colours for you. I'll just take the photograph off the screen just for a moment, because it's difficult now trying to fit this portrait canvas with the palette and the reference photo all at the same time. It's very, very tricky, so I'm going to have to kind of switch between one and the other. I presume you would like to see me mixing much more than showing you the reference photograph all the time, so I think I'll just focus on the mixing for now, and we can kind of go back and forward then to the reference photograph just to take a quick look every now and again. Does that sound okay? Right, I have titanium white, Naples yellow, cadmium yellow, I have a little burnt sienna, I have a little bit of burnt umber, I have some cadmium red, I have some naphthol crimson, which is a very strange kind of a name. It's an alternative to alizarin crimson, really. I don't know now if you can make this out on the screen or not, but it's a very sort of, it's kind of on the reddy side of crimson. Crimson would be a lot more pink, I would say, but it's a nice alternative. I just find the crimson very rich, very luminous, so this is a more cut back kind of a pink. It's a nice warm reddy kind of a pink. A little bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of lamp black. That's what I have. And we're going to start off with a horizon line, a nice low horizon line here now. So let's go along here. There may be nice row of trees. In fact, we could do some little hills off in the distance, because if you look really closely at the photograph, there is some hills off in the distance. So we can put some of those in, and then put some nice dark trees in silhouette. Doesn't that sound good? So here I am again, green brush, alright, I have a little drop of turpentine. That much is plenty for the entire painting, absolutely plenty. And I have some tissue. Okay, so we're ready to go, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Give this a try, and I'm excited now to paint this. I really am, because I love working with these kind of colours. And it's going to be a little tricky getting from the blue down to the rich yellow and orange. But we will, we'll mess around with it and we'll try different things. So I'm going to start off now with a very light blue up on the top. So it comes down almost halfway on the sky. It's a nice kind of bright blue. It gets darker on the top and it gets lighter and lighter. So I'm going to mix a blue for that. So I'm going to dip my brush into my turpentine. Okay, so my brush is now soaking wet, and I'm just going to dry it gently on the tissue, just to take off the excess turpentine. It's still very wet, but it's not soaking wet. And let's take some white. Let's pull off a good dollop of white there, and find an area on my palette, my very dirty palette. I'm just a lazy so-and-so, I couldn't be bothered cleaning. Do forgive me. And let's take a touch of cobalt. There we go. Cobalt, just like that. And I'm going to make it a little rich now on the top. I want it nice and rich. And you can see now how creamy this is. It's very creamy. And let me just try this. And by the way, guys, I have my canvas now primed. I only primed it once. I normally would prime my canvases twice. But I put a thick coat of primer over it. A really good thick coat of primer. And so it's just a homemade primer. So now let's make this nice thick creamy colour and put that on. And the canvas is still a little on the dry side, but it's not too bad, I don't mind. Let's go in there and mix another bit of that. Tiny touch of turpentine, just to moisten this a little bit. You see, when you dip in, every time you dip into the white, it makes the paint thicker and creamier again. So you have to kind of thin it down then again slightly with a tiny drop of turpentine just on the corner of your brush. That's what I would say. So, and every time I'm dampening my brush, I'm only just using the corner. I'm just putting the corner of the brush into the turpentine just to soak up a little bit. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going right into the bowl, if you know what I mean. Now I'm going to start making that a bit brighter, so I'm going to add more white to that. So I just picked up a little bit of white and I went straight onto the canvas. Now I already have blue on my brush, so it's going to mix with that, you see. And I'm going to just dry my brush now to get a lot of that blue off. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start introducing a little red. So let me take some white into that mix, okay? So I have there a very light pale blue. Then I'm going to start taking some red. Now, we have a choice, the crimsony red or the cadmium. I think the cadmium, because it's a much more kind of an earthy red, which is what I want. And you see, I'm introducing some pink now into this. So between my yellow and blue, I'm going to put a layer of pink basically. And this is quite dry, so it's quite thin. I want to make it a little thicker. So I'm going to take some more red and some white, some nice thick colour. And I want to go over this with some nice, rich, thick colour. So a nice rich pink here now. You could use the crimson, if you have only crimson, you could use crimson. But that might make it a bit kind of on the bright kind of side, does that make sense? On the luminous side. I prefer using the cadmium red. Now I'm just going to soften all of this together here, okay? From the top right down to the bottom. And you can see now it graduates from a nice blue to a nice pink, doesn't it? And I want to keep going with this pink just for now. So let me just give my brush a quick dab on the tissue, take off the dirty colour, and pick up some white, put into that, and I'm lightening that pink now again, you see. And take more white. And pull that down now, and I'm just kind of scrubbing this into the canvas. And there we are, soften that across. And what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to start introducing little bits of yellow with that mixture. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just give my brush a quick wipe on this tissue, just get that bulk of that paint off. All right, there we go. And let me just dampen it very slightly. So I'm going to be careful with this part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little cadmium red on a separate area, and I'm going to take a good bit of white, mix those together quickly so we have a light pink, don't we? Now what I'm going to do then is start introducing some yellow. Now I could go with Naples yellow, but that might be a little bit chalky, so I'm going to try a little cadmium. Tiny bit. You see the little bit now that I have on my brush there? That's all you need, because it's a very strong colour. And we end up with kind of a salmon kind of a, yeah, like a salmony kind of a colour. So can you see that now? It's a kind of an orangey salmony kind of a colour. And I'm going to now start putting this on, and I'm going to soften it up into that pink. And this is kind of quite thin. This layer now is very thin. It's a very thin layer of paint. I'm not going on with lots of thick paint all over the place. I'm softening these right in, and you can almost see the grain of the canvas popping through. It's that thin. It's a really thin colour. And I'm going to start gradually adding more and more yellow to this as I come down. So you can see now, more yellow. And I could probably add a bit more paint because it's quite thin. Bit more red, bit more yellow. And then we could knock that back with a little touch of white. Okay. And if it's a bit strong, just take an extra bit of white. There we go. And I'm going to come right across with that. So you can see now we gradually went from blue to pink to yellow. And that helps then to stop the colours getting all kind of muddy and whatnot. And it gives you a nice transition then from one colour into the next. You see? Isn't that lovely? Now when I'm looking at the photograph as well, I'm not looking at clouds. I'm just focusing entirely on the background colour. So the bright sky colour. I'm not even looking at clouds. Clouds now aren't even in my picture at the moment. When I'm looking at this, all I'm concentrating on is that background in the picture. It can be quite difficult to kind of look through the clouds and see, get a kind of a sense of what's behind the clouds, if that makes sense. But it just comes with practice, really. So I'm just going to start adding now some nice rich colour to this, and I might change to a little of the crimson. Might try a little of it. Let's experiment with this. So we'll do some experimenting. A little bit of natal crimson with a little cadmium yellow. Let's try some of that. And that is not bad. It's probably a little bit on the ochre side for me, I think. So I might just add a bit of Naples yellow to that, with some cadmium yellow. And this is a bit brighter, I think. Yeah, I'll go with this. And we'll soften this across. Now we have a very bright yellowy area down here, don't we? So I want to get some nice rich colour in down here. And I can actually see little touches of sienna. Sienna with red. So a little touch of sienna. Okay, burnt sienna with a touch of cadmium red. And I can see that colour kind of creeping in slightly just over here. Now you probably can't, but I can kind of see a little bit of sienna in that sky. Just a hint of it. So I'm going to scrub some of that in just there and there. And it does take a bit of practice, this, getting used to colours and knowing what kind of mixes to use. But it just comes with experience, guys. Just have a bit of fun. Mess around with some paint. Now, a bit more red down the end. Come right past that horizon line. Okay, so now we have some nice kind of burnt orangey reddy kind of a colours down there, don't we? You see? So let's just kind of sit back now for a second and gauge how that's looking. That's quite nice. At this stage, I'm going to start adding some very rich yellow into that. So while it's all wet, I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush, and I am going to, let me see now, let me have a look. Okay, we try this one, yeah? Nice little flat brush, and some very rich yellows. All right, people, nice, rich, warm yellows. So let's go right in there with a dry brush, because this is quite wet, so I'm not going to wet the brush. Just a nice dry brush. So now I'm going to start putting thicker paint on top of tin paint. This is my background colour, done with nice tin mixes. Now the thicker paint comes in, so just a brush, no turpentine. Some cadmium yellow, and let's go into this mix here. Nice rich cadmium yellow, look at that, that's a gorgeous colour, isn't it? And let's take a touch of white. Nice clean bit of white. So we have a nice bright mix here now, don't we? Bright, luminous yellow, and plenty of thick paint on the brush. And the sun is kind of in the centre generally, isn't it? So I'm just going to go left to right, and I'm going to just mix some of this colour in there. And look, it's not going to happen straight away. We build up our mixes slowly, bit by bit. So I'm now going to give this a wipe on the brush to take off that dirty colour, and I'm going to go back in again, pick some more up, and go again. You see? And I'm just waving the brush now from side to side. So left and right. And everything that's way off in the distance is very kind of horizontal, isn't it? So you see, I'm just going to give it a little wiggle here and there. And I'm focusing all this rich colour now just around the centre area. And there's some very luminous kind of whitey clouds in around the centre, isn't there? And I might actually use a different yellow for that in a minute. And it's going to be a very luminous yellow. First now I just want to brighten this a little. So I can see the yellow sort of comes up into the brighter section of the sky. So I'm going to add more white to that now, because if I put very rich yellow around here, it's going to start going a greeny tinge, because there's a lot of blue up here. So I'm just putting more white into the mix. You see? Because it's not so much yellow in the paint, it doesn't tend to go kind of mucky. Now it's okay to put yellow in down here just on its own, because these are complementary colours and they won't affect the yellow very much. But if you put a yellow up around here, it will, because there's a bit of blue up here. So that's how I keep the colours nice and clean. Now let me just put a little bit around here. And again, sit back, take a little look. See what we're looking like there. That's okay. Now there's a very bright luminous yellow just around. Now just let me finish just one little area here. I just want to put some nice rich yellow in around here, okay, before I move on. Now plenty of rich colour in around there. That's better. Oh yeah, what was I saying? A very, very bright, luminous yellow. Now I could use cadmium yellow but white, but even that still would not be bright enough for me, for what I want. So I'm going to bring in a new colour, a new yellow. And this is the yellow that I've had in my box for years and years and years. And I've hardly ever used it. So let me just see now if I can find this for you. Okay, ladies and gents. You can hear all the noise in the background. Where is it? It's basically just a lemon yellow. It's a very bright lemon yellow. You can't even see the tube. Look, that's how old the tube is now. It's just destroyed. And it's a very bright yellow. This is fantastic for making very bright, luminous, whitey colours. And there you can see. And we put it up here just a little, and you can see the difference. So that now is what I would call a very cool, yellow. So cadmium yellow is a kind of a warm yellow, and lemon yellow is a very cool, kind of pale, cool yellow. So I'm going to try that now and try and get some nice luminous colour here. So let's take a bit of that, and let's take some white. And that really give that white some kick. Watch this now. There we go. Right, just around the centre here. Now look at that. You see what I mean? Doesn't that just really pop out? And we can even brighten it more if you like. There's a very bright kind of area just around the centre here where the sun is, isn't there? I'm going to pop a little bit down here. And let's take more yellow. And put some bright rich yellow through that. So I'm just focusing now, everyone, on just getting my sunlight colour down here first before I move on to my clouds. Trying to get all of this in. And in fact there's a kind of a pinky colour there too, which we can add. So let's do that. Let's take some titanium white and let's take a touch of that crimson kind of a colour. And let's put a little bit of that in as well. I can see all these kind of colours now as I'm looking at the photograph. There's a little bit here and a little bit there, a little bit of pink just around this area here. So I'm just softening this in. There we go. And let me go back to my yellow. Let me take some of that lemon yellow and let me take some of that white, and let me go down here. There's a very strong indication of it there and around here as well. So I'm just kind of messing around here now with different colours, different yellows, and just introducing different ones here and there. So the next step I'm going to do is just soften this very, very gently. And we can come back to this in a minute and bring out some more yellow. Okay? So I have kind of my background in, that's my kind of background colour. And the next thing I'm going to do is start focusing on clouds. So let's go over some clouds now. Alright people? Up here we have some nice, now this is kind of starting to soak in slightly, so I'm going to concentrate on this up here first. We have some kind of light pink floating around here and there. So I might try and get that in. I'll take a small brush, nice clean small brush, and let me get some titanium white. God, I tell you something, we use a lot of white, don't we? And let me go into that. And a touch of, let's go with this crimson kind of a colour. Let's take a touch of that. And we have some nice pink clouds up there. Now I might take a touch of yellow into this as well. There we are, that's a little better. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, a little bit of white. And let's go up here now and try and create some rough clouds. Now that's probably a bit yellow. So you see, you can test it. If you don't like it, then you can try something else. Let me put some more pink into that. That's a bit better. And I'm being very careful with this now because I have a lot of yellow in this mix and there's a lot of blue here, so I don't want to mix those two together too much. I'm just putting it on the canvas and I'm leaving it. I'm not fiddling around pushing it through the blue because it will mix and you will end up with a little bit of green on your brush, and that's not what you want. Now let me take some more white. Just put a bit of white into that there because there we are. And take a bit of that pinky colour up there. And I'm just kind of dabbing little bits here and there. I'm not trying to kind of paint actual clouds. I'm just giving a suggestion of some cloud in the sky, that's all. Again, I'm keeping it simple. Let's take some more. Let's try some cadmium red actually for a change this time, yes? So let's come over here now. As we come down now, they're going to start getting much warmer. So I've just brought a bit of cadmium red into that. There we are. And you know, you don't even have to copy the photograph exactly. I'm just using it really as a reference for colours. I'm not going to try and paint every single cloud as it is on the photograph. I'm just looking at the colours, that's all. I'll try and keep it a little bit similar, but we can add a bit more or a bit less. It's up to ourselves. And come across here. Now we have a very nice kind of a purple colour creeping in, don't we? Nice dark purple. So I might work on that, perhaps. Yeah, we will. So I'm going to go with a bigger brush. And there's a very good reason why I go with bigger brushes for clouds like this. Because it means there's less fiddling. There's less fiddling around with a little brush like this. Whereas a big brush is more spontaneous and it gives you a much more natural effect for a cloud. So that's why I don't kind of mess around too much with little brushes. Now I will on this put a little bit of bright kind of a yellow, bright salmony kind of a yellow just along the tops of these. Now that's a bit too much, isn't it? So you see, I went into the lemon yellow and it really made it too bright. There we are, that's a bit better. Just along the tops. And you could even soften that as well. So let's soften this in very gently. Being very careful now not to pull it through the blue too much. Okay, just like that. And give it a clean and come down and soften these ones in. So it's starting to work, isn't it? It's coming together very slowly. Okay, slightly bigger brush and a nice purple for this. I suppose the important thing with this is as it comes down, it goes from a bluey purple to a reddy purple. So again, I'm doing the very same now, the opposite way around. So I'm putting a dark blue up here, purpley blue, and as it comes down to the yellow, I'm going to start adding more red. So that will neutralize the blue. Do you understand? Let me show you. So let's say we want a nice, rich kind of a purpley blue up here. I'm just going to dampen my brush. And I'm being very careful now, I'm staying away from the yellow on my tissue with this, because if I even touch the yellow, I'll already have green on my brush. So a nice clean part of the tissue, give it a slight damp and give it a good dry. And let's take some cobalt blue, a nice clean part of your palette again, let's say here on top of this bit of red, cobalt blue, a little bit of cadmium red, and let's have a look and see how that looks on the canvas. I can already see it's a bit on the reddy side, so I'll take a little bit more blue for that. And I'm just going to test it, okay? So I'm looking at the photograph, I'm looking at my painting, and perhaps it could be a bit more blue, couldn't it? And we could even take a touch of white into that, just to brighten it very, very slightly. So now I have like a blueberry kind of a colour. Okay? And that's a nice colour. In fact, more blue again. And I'm using cobalt blue this time for this painting because you can really take a lot of cobalt blue and it'll have a very small effect. So it's very forgiving that way. You can really get your mixes just right. If I was using Peruvian blue or phaylo blue on this, or even French ultramarine, it would be very rich and it would overpower the colour very quickly. So that's why I'm sticking with cobalt just for this one. Now, let's put it in here, and I'm being very spontaneous with the brush. Look, I'm just giving it a flick around here and there. Because clouds can be very spontaneous in the sky, can't they? There's no kind of set pattern really, is there, for a cloud in the sky? It just goes wherever it wants to go, or wherever the wind is pushing it. So for that reason, I'm going to keep this nice and loose. Let's put a little bit over here. You see, nice and loose. And as it comes down, it's going to get a bit more horizontal. So let me just pull along like that, look, you see? And that gives the impression of a bit of distance in the sky up overhead, doesn't it? And I see green. You see what happened there? I pulled my blue into the yellow and straight away I got a little hint of green just in that yellow there. Now you probably can't see that, but I can. So I'm going to fix it. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take some white and a little bit of white over that. There we go. And I might even take a little touch of pink as well and warm it slightly with the red. So now if the blue touches it, it's not going to go green, is it? So I've put a little dollop of red just into that. There we are. So, focusing on our blues. It's quite dark up here. I'm going to take a touch of black into that. Believe it or not. And a touch of cobalt. I want this nice, darky, purpley, kind of bluey colour up here. There we are. And as we come down, it is going to start getting more and more red. So I'm just going to start adding more cadmium red into that with a touch of white. And then we end up with a more kind of a plum colour. You see? Isn't that nice? That's a nice colour, isn't it? And I'm just pulling at a slight angle here, just giving a little flick. And that's just giving the impression of the wind kind of blowing these clouds around. And let's put a little under here. I'm not going to go by the photograph completely. I'm just going to make up my own. And then at this stage, I'm going to leave it for a second. I'm just going to soften these all together with the soft brush. Pull them out gently. And let's soften these ones very slightly as well. And this really helps knock them back into the distance, I find. These soft brushes are fantastic. And they're only like €1.50 inside a discount store. A lady's foundation brush, a powder brush. I think it's a powder brush, ladies. Is it? Is it a powder brush? I think it is. There we are. Now, let's have a look at that. We have one section done. And as we come down, we're going to start making these a little more prominent. So I'm going to switch to my small flat brush again for the rest of this, I think. And I'm going to mix another very dark colour. So some cobalt blue, cadmium red, and it's going to get quite ready this time. I'll take a touch of white, and I might take a touch of burnt sienna, hint of burnt sienna, that's all. And I'm going to come down here now and put in some nice strong clouds. So let me just check this first. That's nice, I like that. So I'm just going to go along and form some clouds here off in the distance, and they're going to be very horizontal clouds because they're so far away, everything becomes straight, doesn't it? There we are. So that could be one off in the distance there. Quite nice, isn't it? And go back into your mix and let's put another one kind of cutting through the sun a little bit. Okay, so it cuts through the sun here, and then it comes off and it gets slightly bigger. You see? And I'm just having a bit of fun now with the brush. That's what I'm doing. There we are. And I'm going to take a bit more red into that. And it's going to get slightly more pinky down here, isn't it? So I'm just going to put a couple of little wiggles, because these clouds are so far away. To give it the impression of distance, I just kind of put a couple of wiggles like this just across the canvas, you see? And it really does work. When you stand back then and look, it's like very small clouds way off in the distance. So I'll put another one, not a big kind of a one coming across here. And you can see all I'm doing is just kind of scrubbing the brush, wiggling it around here and there. Now I picked up a bit of blue there, which is not good. We don't want blue. And let's just put that across right through here. You see, it looks quite good, doesn't it? We're getting some nice distance in our sky. Now this cloud goes right across, doesn't it? So I'm going to make another little bit of that colour. Cadmium red, a little bit of cobalt blue, just to tone down the red a little, and a touch of white. And it comes right across here and it goes into this, doesn't it? And I want to take a bit more red, a bit more white, and I want to soften this in here, because that bit of rich yellow there almost went a little green, so I'm keeping plenty of red in this mix now. Alright everyone, plenty of red on the brush. And let's just have a little look at that. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? It kind of shows the sun almost popping up from behind the clouds. And look, it's not exactly like the photograph, but it doesn't have to be. You can make it your own. Okay, I'm just going to take some cobalt blue, a little bit of that, and let's take some cobalt, and let's, you know what? Let's try some of this Natal crimson for a change. Let's give him a chance. Natal crimson, a little bit of cobalt, and I'm going to take a touch of burnt sienna, just a touch. And that's a kind of slightly paler colour now, isn't it? That's quite nice. It's kind of a cooler colour, we'll say. And I'm just using the tip of my brush to just pull little bits out here and there to suggest little clouds in the distance. And let's come over here, make it a bit, some nice cool kind of clouds popping up like that. And then what we do have is actually, in fact, you know what? I might put a couple of extra around there. And you know, I think I will. I might make this a little bit bigger, give it more presence in the sky. Okay. And what I might do then is add a little one up here, creeping through. Okay, just like this. And that gives it a bit of balance, doesn't it? I know we have a nice kind of a clear area just here, which is quite nice. I like that. And now I'm just going to soften very gently with the tip of my brush, almost like I'm holding a feather. Very, very gently, just let it glide over the surface of the canvas. And I'm trying to be as smooth as I possibly can with this. There we are. Isn't that lovely? So I want to put one or two very bright ones just in the middle. So I'm going to put this brush down because it's dirty. And I'm going to take the one I used for the yellow. And let's get some very bright colour in here. I'm going to take some lemon yellow and a touch of cadmium yellow with some white. Mix those just quickly, very quickly. And just around here, I'm going to go da 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 da, just like that. and that's suggesting a very kind of a bright cloud being hit by the sun right there in the center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start introducing some of this here and there down at the end, very carefully, because I don't want it going green. There's a little bit kind of creeping through here, and we've plenty of it then down at the bottom, don't we? And I'm going to switch to a small brush this time, alright everyone? And if you look at the picture, around the clouds there's a little bright highlight around the cloud, isn't there? Just here and there. It's showing the sun hitting the edge of the cloud as it comes around the cloud. So I'm going to put that in with a very pointy brush. This is probably too thick. I go for a smaller one. There we go. And some white, and add that to the yellow you just mixed. Very brighty, whitey yellow here, that's what we have. And I'm going to very gently go around some of this here, and I'm just kind of wiggling it now, being very rough, very up and down here and there with the brush, and a little bit around here. So, looking quite nice now, isn't it? It's that simple, guys, it really is. You should really try this. A little bit under here. And I'm just keeping it simple. But I'm looking at the photograph, I'm just keeping it very, very loose and very simple. It doesn't really even have to look like what you're painting. It can be a completely different sky. But as long as you try it and have a bit of fun with it, that's all that matters. Alright everyone, I'm going to put a bit around here, because I would like to put a bit around there. It might not be in the photograph, but hey, it's my painting. You don't have to copy it. A bit there. Perhaps just a tiny touch catching the tops of them there. Now I'm going to soften this one with my finger here. I'm just going to pull it back into the cloud gently. I might do the same with this one here. And we have a very luminous, rich yellow then just in the center here, and I really want to show that sun kind of cropping through, poking its head just through there. There we are. That's quite nice. I like that. And let's put a little highlight along this one up there. And then I'm just going to clean my brush very quickly and take some white. And I'm going to put a hint of white just here and there along the center where that sun is. Just make it pop a little. Now I want to put a little bit as well on some of the clouds up here, so it's catching the brighter ones on top as well. So the sun is coming up and it's kind of catching little bits of these clouds just here and there. A little bit on that. Oh, that's too much paint. Okay, so it's just catching the bottom of the cloud. That makes sense. And that's nice, I like that. What I might do, I'm kind of constantly looking back and forward here now to the painting. I'm just going to soften the center here just very gently. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken some of these clouds just to give it a bit of texture, a bit of form. So I'm going to take some cobalt blue with a touch of black, and actually a touch of red as well. So I'm just going to test that now. That's not bad. So just here and there, look, I'm going to wiggle in a little dark colour, and I'm only doing this just to give it a little bit more contrast. Just here and there through the cloud. And they're only very, very subtle amounts, but you will see it when you stand back. And let's put a little bit here. Okay, that'll do. Now, we do have some hills, as I was saying earlier, we have some hills off in the distance, don't we? I think I'll put those in. I'm going to switch to my little bigger brush here that I have, and I'm going to go right in there, give this a quick clean on my tissue, take off the bulk of that paint, and they're very warm colours, aren't they? So let's take some red with a touch of cadmium yellow, and let's take a bit of that bright colour there. So a nice orangey kind of a colour. And I'm going to suggest some hills off in the distance there. They're very hard to see now, I'll be honest, because they almost blend into the sky, you see. But they are there. Now, I have that colour in there. I'm going to switch to my smaller brush, take some of that white with some of the yellow, and I'm going to suggest some light on these hills. Okay? There. And I'm going to suggest some light on this side. Then what I'm going to do is take a darker colour. So I'm going to take some burnt sienna with some cadmium red. So we have a slightly darker mix now. I'm going to cut in front of those with a nice darker colour. We could even take a bit of burnt umber in that. And let's take more burnt umber, burnt sienna off on the left hand side here. And in the centre where the sun is, it's going to be very warm, isn't it? So I'm going to take just some yellow, and I'm going to pop some yellow in just in the centre where the sun is kind of poking in between those hills. Okay, just like so. And I know it's very difficult to see all of this now, but because it's there, I said I might as well try and put it in. I hope you don't mind. So next I want to put in some nice dark trees now as a nice silhouette here down at the end. I'm going to take this brush, the one I just used, the biggest kind of flat brush, and I'm going to take some, let's take some blue and some red, good bit of red, and let's take a little bit of black. Now I am adding plenty of red, so nice warm colour across here. Let's take some burnt umber as well, that should help. La 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 lee. And this is fun, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed this now, everyone. Nice little sunset for you to practice. And it's great practice for trying different colours, that type of thing. You should really give it a go. So bring this right down, nice and dark. Okay, all the way across here. And let's take some burnt sienna. So I'm not kind of using any blue in this now because I want to keep this nice and warm. So let's take some red. I'm running out of colour, but it doesn't matter because I'm almost finished. A little bit of red, bit of black. And it's just a nice little quick tutorial just for you to see how to paint a sunset and keep it simple as well. Right. Now there's a few telegraph poles here and there, but do we want to put them in? Do we need to put them in? I'll be very honest, I don't think we do. I'm just going to put a really black tree here in silhouette. Okay, just by dabbing the brush. There we go. And now, how are we looking with that? We could, if you like, introduce a little highlight onto those trees. I'll take a small clean brush and I will take some cadmium yellow, little red, and some white. And keeping this now very, very warm. So let's just go like this. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Little bit of warmth on the tips of those trees there. Let's take some more of that yellow with a touch more red. Just along this tree. So just a little bit, just to suggest a bit of light catching those trees, that's all. It's only just a suggestion really. That'll do fine. Let me see. Right. I suppose we could put one tree here, or would that spoil it? I'm not too sure. Yeah. I don't know, guys. Or should I say, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, I don't know. Should we leave it as it is? Let's just stick a couple of birds in the sky and we'll see. I just want to create something of interest in the painting. Now, I know the sunset itself is the interest, but I think something just kind of coming up or something coming into it somewhere would give it more depth. Let's just stick 1 or 2 birds in the sky first. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put 1, 2, and let's put 1 over here, playing that way. So, something of interest, what do you think? Perhaps a little tree coming in? Will we try it? This is the tricky part because you don't want to spoil your sunset after doing so much work to it, if you know what I mean. And once this goes on, it's going to be very difficult to clean it. Very, very difficult indeed. God, lads, ladies, I don't know what to do. Perhaps we'll just leave it. What do you think? Let me unmount the camera and let me talk, and let's stand back and take a look at this. Now, how's that? I still think a tree would be nice. I'd have to think about it. Let me turn the camera around here for you people. I'll have to think about it. I don't know what to do. So you know what we will do? I will upload this. Okay, I'll let you have a look at it and tell me what you think. Should we put a little tree or a telegraph pole or a fence or something? No, not a fence. Give me some comments and suggestions. Yes, will we do that? Let me know what you think would look nice in the front of the painting. If you think I should just leave it, we could just leave it as it is. Give me a comment. Give me a suggestion. And I will have a look at those suggestions and I will decide what to do. We could just leave it well alone. It's a lovely little painting, isn't it? So, guys, I hope you got some, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got some valuable hints and tips on that. And I just hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you again for all your support. You have been very, very kind to me. I really do enjoy painting these tutorials for you people out there, because I know you're getting some valuable information from them. And if you're new to oils, this is the channel for you. So stay tuned. We will have lots more coming very soon. So I will look forward to hearing your comments on this painting. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again very soon with a new tutorial. God bless, guys, and thank you very, very much. All the best.